Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this morning. Today we will be discussing certification, rollover, and slot reallocation. We're going to ask you to take some notes because we are going to be covering information that you have not heard before as it relates to the slot reallocation. With me, I have Craig, Victor, and we will all chime in and make comments about the subjects that we're going over. We're going to start with Craig, who will discuss with you our rollover for this year. Craig?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the rollover process. Most of you, I think, are familiar with that from previous years, but I want you to be aware of both some changes that are coming and just clarify a couple things for you. So I'm going to go through this chronologically. So starting right now, I know some of you guys already have classes that are closed for the year. And although it might be a little late in some cases, I wanted to get this out there and make sure everybody is aware that we do not need to terminate children and families who are in 10-month programs, half-day programs that do not operate in the summer. The reason we are keeping them in, at least in those cases where they will be returning in the fall, or we hope they're returning from the fall, is that their eligibility status should stay the same. So we determined that they were eligible for the program when they enrolled, and we should keep that, so we don't really want a new snapshot. So we're doing the rollover process, which rolls people into the next year without creating a new enrollment snapshot. Now for kids, if you've already terminated them, we don't really need to worry about figuring that out right now. Just leave them alone. But if they're still enrolled, leave them there, especially if they are planning to return in the fall. Even if they're not returning in the fall, however, we are leaving them in there because through the rollover process, we can move them directly to the archive. Whereas if they're terminated, they're going to stay in the terminated area on the ineligible terminated list until somebody goes in by hand and marks and makes them all archived. Since every year about this time we lose about 9,000 children, nobody really wants to go in there and archive 9,000 children by hand. So the rollover process is going to make that easier for you and allow us to do all of that at one time on one day. So that's really the first point, is just for now, in terms of enrollment status for families in closed classrooms, just leave them alone. Now, let me find one. I realize some of you are worried about attendance, because if those classes have closed, or you're operating a 10-month program, everybody that's still in there and not terminated is now counting as as absent if you haven't ended the classroom. So just to make sure everybody knows this, you can still go to the Universal Class Start and Update area, which I'll show you. It's in Admin. You pick your class, your agency site, and you can see for each class that's in there, you've got a current value for start and end. For most classes, we just left that at the school year when we started the year, but for classes that are over, all it needs to happen is the end date needs to be changed to whatever the last day of class is. I've got this one here, and it shows like the end date as June 14th, so nobody will count as absent after June 14th until we do the rollover. And so that's the way we take care of that, rather than by terminating kids. Now, at the child level, we just need to do the school year end activities, do the child next year preparation, and the family next year preparation. Do the children first, but don't forget to do the parents, otherwise you end up with parents receiving services for years and years after their kids have gone on to kindergarten. So it's not the right place. So for child next year preparation, what we're talking about is we're just answering a basic question: what is happening with this child in the fall? So this will show you, you start with an enrolled children list, and you can see what status of all the children is currently. These are the kids who are enrolled, and it's taking a guess. So we've got 3 columns here. Returning, which is obvious, these are the kids who will be back in the same program in the fall. Recertify, and archive. Archive, it's also obvious. That means they're gone and we want to move them into the archive at the end of the year. Selecting archive here will not archive them immediately. The point here is just to tell us what to do, and when we do the rollover, we'll move them into the archive. The only one that's confusing for people is recertify. The only time you're going to use that is when they're going to be in a different program. If I made this program, I would have named these 3 items. Instead of returning, recertify, and archive, I would have told you where they're going. So it's the eligible accepted list for returning, the waiting list for recertify, and archive for archive. So you're using the recertify only when you want to put them on the waiting list. Why do you want to put them on the waiting list? A couple reasons. Either they're early Head Start now, but they're going to be Head Start next year, or they're Head Start now and they're going to be school age next year, something like that. But it's a new program and you need to redetermine their eligibility for it. That's the only reason you're going to do that. So really you go through here and it's taking a guess based on their age, but look at for each child. If Karen here is marked as returning, which is actually 5, and you're going to say, wait, no, she's not returning, she's going on to kindergarten. So you would select archive probably, but if you're expecting her to be in your school age program, you would select recertify. And then when you get to the bottom, you hit submit, and it will move all of these kids off of the enrolled children list to whatever list you identified, returning, recertify, or scheduled for archive. Back in the back end, that's where there will be their status. When you're looking at the regular COPA site, will be exactly the same. For now, this is just what will happen in September. So we can't roll over until this has been done for every child. So for every child that's still enrolled, we have to pick what list to put them on and get them all off. And when the enrolled children list is empty, we can roll over. Right now it's got 15,693 kids on it. So all of those need a status before we can roll over. So if it's the night before, and we need to roll over, and some of you haven't set up your children, we're going to archive them. And you're going to come in the next day and you're going to say, where are my kids? That's where they are. They'll be in the archive because we had to get them off the list in order to do the rollover. We don't want to mark them all as returning because then we'll have them on the eligible accepted list and they'll be there all year. It'll cause all kinds of problems. So we're going to archive everybody that doesn't have a status as of the end of the day on August 31st. Okay, so that is the children. You do that first. There's a family next year preparation. The reason you do the children first is you can't archive a family unless the child has already been set up for archive. So if you look at this right now, if you're seeing the screen that I have up, you're seeing that nobody has a checkbox under archive yet. You can choose receiving services or not receiving services, but you can't see anybody under archive, and that's because you can only the parents of archive children or children who are scheduled to archive get a little box. So once you set up the kids and you mark your kindergartners as archive, you can come around and you can mark their parents as archive if they don't have any younger siblings, right? So you do that pretty much anytime you can set someone up for archive, you should, because that means they have no active children. And I don't know why you would want to keep a parent with no active children in here unless you're talking about someone you're going to serve as a pregnant mom or someone you're expecting to have an infant for your infant, toddler, or early Head Start. But most of the time, if you can mark, if they have a box, check the box, archive them, get them out of your system. Okay, so that's all you need to do right now for rollover is make sure your half-day classes are ended, set the children up for archive, or set the children up for rollover, and then set the parents up for rollover. And you just, once you have the right boxes, you hit submit. There you go. However, there's a couple things that will be new going forward so that you need to keep an eye on. As you probably already know, the family assessment never has carried over from year to year, so you need to print that off before the rollover because afterwards it will disappear. But that's going to be an even bigger deal this year because COPA tells us that the family assessment module is going to look different, and we're going to be able to set that up a little and customize it, and I'm pretty sure you will like it more next year. It will be a little bit more useful. And also, it won't tell you all year long that your second and third assessments are overdue, which they're not because you're already doing. But because we're bringing on a new module and almost certainly shutting down the existing family assessment module, you need to get everything that's in there out. So just make sure that your family partnership folder is up to date and has everything printed off so that when we do the rollover, we can bring on the new module right away and you can start working with the new one. It should still be pretty intuitive, but we will have information about that later as soon as we meet with COPA, which should be next week. So, right. So, yeah, so make sure that your family community partnership person knows this, that the family assessment is, just for now, all you need to know is it's going to look different. You need to get your information out of it. Make sure you've got it up to date, materials printed before the rollover. While you're talking to them about that, the other important thing to know is that we are less than 45 days from the rollover at this point, and that means that the screenings which need to be within 45 days of enrollment are now within 45 days of enrollment. So if you put something in a couple weeks ago, we were more than 45 days out, like an Easy R, for example. The way COPA works right now, it would not have counted. You do an Easy R today, put it in with today's date, or within 45 days of enrollment, it counts. So you can now start to begin entering all of that stuff for kids that are coming in, especially for the new kids. If you're going to do, some collection of information now, developmental screenings now, health history now, this is a good time to get all of that stuff, and it will count because we're within 45 days. And you can do that. We're going to be talking about enrollment and certification in a minute here. The important piece about that is that you should be putting them on the waiting list now. So to make the process of enrollment and making enrollment by a certain date easier, if you've got kids applying, we don't want them enrolled yet if they're not in class because it's going to screw up your PIR numbers if you have them enrolled. But you can put them on a waiting list right now if you've had them, if they've applied, they've come in on paper. That way you have everybody in there. You can, the more kids that are already entered and already on the waiting list when we do the rollover, the more kids you can get in the first couple of days. It will make this whole process a lot easier for you. Okay, so questions?
We're going to ask everybody to type in their questions if they have.
Yeah, type questions into the chat box. I can't hear you.
The speakers are very
right.
Loud. So we're going to ask everybody to.
So if you let me see. Do we have questions? So far, I don't.
There's none.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yes, now I have one. Just for clarification, we can enter screening results for returning children in COPA, and this information will not be lost in the rollover. Yes. You can put, oh, right, yes, type it in there. You can put developmental screenings in there. Those do not disappear like the family assessments do. But in order to be counted for new kids, in order to be counted on next year's PIR, it needs to be within the date needs to be within 45 days. That's why I said today's date is fine, but we go back, I think, as far as Monday, maybe, and we're outside of that 45-day window. So, yeah, I don't know. You have to subtract from our first day, our enrollment date, which is going to be September 4th, which is a Tuesday. So,
yes, did I do that right?
yeah.
Okay.
So you'll be good now. It wasn't really that they disappeared, because the system has developmental screening information going back several years for some children. What happened is that they didn't count as done for the PIR because they were more than 45 days before. So you can't use a June date or even July 5th or whatever for next year's developmental screening, because it's not within 45 days. But for the 45 days can be before or after for that indicator, at least at this point. Okay. When should we start the process of rolling over? Mid-August is the next question. You can start now. The only thing that you need to realize is that any changes you make to enrollment status will mean that you have to do rollover again. So you could set all your kids up now, but if somebody changes their program model, you terminate, you re-enroll them, or you enroll a new child in the system after today, they will be back on the enrolled children list. So let me write that up. What about home visits? I'm not sure what that's referring to. What about home visits? As far as I know, if you're talking about the required teacher home visits and parent-teacher conferences, I don't think if you document them now that they will count, simply because when we look at the program years report, it starts with September, and it's just how many visits were made each month, and then how many visits were made for each family during the program year. So if you do a home visit in August, it's obviously not going to show up on the September monthly report. So I would document those with a September date is the way I would do it. If we have children that are returning, can we screen them for the new school year? Yes. Yes, you can do that. Put their developmental screening stuff in right now. You've noticed you can track that through the developmental screening report, some of the other reports in COPA. Let me bring that up. They will not show up on the PIR because the PIR is only looking at newly enrolled children at this point. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. It just means they don't count on that indicator. Let me see. So I would use 456 or 456S to track that instead of using the PIR, just because the PIR is only looking at new kids. Double screening. Okay. So this is where what I'd use to track. We don't have any kids in this site. That's what we're looking at. And you print off the assessments. Will the goals and referrals roll over? No. Well, maybe, but they shouldn't, because what our team has been asking people all summer at the PIR meetings to do is to close out goals for this year. So by the time we do rollover, you should look at family goals and decide whether they were met or not, and put whatever current status is in there at the time of rollover. And then with the new program year, we should set new goals. Even if they're the same ones, we enter them again. The same with referrals. Referrals, we track referrals made during the program year, and we want every family to have some referrals and services during the program year. So once the rollover happens, it's a new program year, we want new referrals. We don't want, it will not continue to count the old ones. Goals. Oh, I did answer the home visit question. You're welcome. Can we enroll new children now? Okay. I'd rather put them on the waiting list. I mean, you can. It's a year-round school year. If you're serving children, if they're attending your program and going to class, you should enroll them. But if they're not starting yet, if they're going to be at your center in September, but they're not now, we shouldn't enroll them. Now, if you have a class that starts in August, that's kind of up to you. Do let us know before you do anything like that, because for our program citywide, we are still in the 11-12 program year, and we haven't made the PIR yet. We haven't reported to the feds on the 11-12 program year. So you start putting them in there, you suddenly have new kids on your report that have that may not have screenings, they may need dental follow-up, they may have all kinds of issues, right? So they should probably be on the waiting list at least until we finalize the report. All right, so talk to us before you do that. I can only think of one agency offhand that has classes that start, they have started already or will start soon. But we are really, in terms of track E type thing where you're starting on the 13th, something like that, we're only looking at 3 weeks. For Head Start, yeah, it's not, especially if they're a Head Start half day, part year. I would rather have them on the waiting list and enroll them when we enroll everybody else, because you're going to have to do that again when we get September 4th. When we complete new goals for the parents, how often are they updated throughout the school year? I almost want to just refer you to your family community partnership contact from FSS because I don't really have that answer. They should be updated though. It's got to be part of the family partnership process, which isn't just doing an assessment, setting goals at the beginning of the year. It's working with the family throughout the year. So they should be updated to reflect that you followed up, that you know the new status, and so on. But I think there's a rule of thumb, and I don't have it with me. Okay. So that's the end of the questions that I have right now. I'm going to hand this over to Arlene, who's going to talk to you about certification, reallocation, all those fun multi-syllable things.
Okay, thanks, Craig. We're going to talk about certification. This year, we will certify the HHS on September 21st. It's always the third Friday of the year. And we expect that you will certify to us on September 14th. As you know, the way it works is the agency receives a letter saying that we are beginning our certification process. This is our third year. And as a team, for each one of your agencies, we will review your enrollment data. We will look at your staff and teacher assignments and qualifications. We review your medical information, see where you are with, working along with your disabilities, as well as age, class size. So all of those things have to be in compliance. And we move forward as a team and we begin to contact you. This year, we will begin those calls on September the 6th, and we will call you up until the day we certify, which is, again, September 21. If you have any issues in any of the areas that I just spoke about, please contact your support service coordinator who can assist you. As it relates to enrollment, for the past 3 years, we have had a strong push for year-round enrollment. Right now, you should be at wherever you are for your funded slots, meaning you have children on a waiting list just waiting to be enrolled after rollover so that you can meet your funded enrollment numbers. Remember that on the 21st, wherever you are in terms of your enrollment is where we certify the HHS. If we fund you for 456 children and on the 21st you have 300 children, those are the numbers that HHS will receive from us, and that will be your new slot allocation number. Okay? That's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything with certification. Are there any questions? No questions. I think there's a question for you. She'll answer questions. Just click on it. Oh my God. Wait. I don't see. I said she'll answer questions. There's an X in the question box. Oh. Here. Oh, okay. I'm clicking. I'm sorry. No questions. This one here for you, Craig. When we complete new goals for the parents, how often are they updated?
Yeah. I did that, but I didn't.
Okay, so there's no other questions.
Because my answer was, I don't know.
Okay, there's no questions.
Look, click the box. There's something up there.
Where?
There.
Here?
Yeah, don't click the trash. Don't click the box.
Okay, sorry. Are we using the poverty guidelines for 2012 or 2011? We haven't done it for 2012.
I think we got them in January.
Okay. Okay.
This should be on the HHS website.
Okay, we're asking a question. The question was, are we using the new poverty guidelines for 2011 or 2012? The new guidelines came out in January 2012, and you can find them on the HHS website. No, we don't need to. Okay, so I think that's it. Great. So now we'll move over to slot allocation. Okay, so slot reallocation is, once again, will be due on August 15th and February 15th. We've made some changes to the application. I'm going to bring the application up. And so it's much simpler than it was before. We've made just some easier approaches to it, so it becomes easier for you to fill it out. So if you notice here, the first box is the type of application. So we want to know if you are applying for Head Start, Early Head Start, or child care. In the second box, we're asking for the type of submission, because sometimes what we were finding was people were adding up all of their agencies' current slots and confusing that with whether they wanted to increase or decrease. So it became a little problem and slowed down the process.
You couldn't tell what they were asking for.
Victor is saying, which is true, we could not tell what you were asking for. Most of the time. So Victor has simplified this process in this new application that he's created. So the type of submission now is if you want additional slots, if you want to decrease your slots, or if you want to reprogram and shift your slots. So, there's times when you want to remain where you are. You just maybe want to add a partner, but keep the same number of slots that you had.
It'll be more like reprogram would be more like if you want to go from half day to full day and stuff like that.
It also includes if you wanted to go from half day to full day. There's also a box here for new partners. So you can check if you're adding a new partner, yes or no, and then of course your date of the application. Number 5, the applicant information. We want you to complete all of that. And then number 6 is where we get into where people sometimes get confused, but I think this will make it much simpler. We're asking for your current number of Head Start slots. So what your current funded number is. And then we're asking you to give us the total number that you're requesting. And then you total up your total number of Head Start slots. We also need to know your current child care slots, and if you're asking for any additional child care slots, we need that total. And it's the same thing for early in number 6. We're asking for your current early numbers, your requested, and then we're asking for a total.
Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to narrate a little bit, and then we're going to have Erlene fill out the application so you can have a visual of how it'll look like. So let's apply for some Head Start slots, Erlene.
All right, so I'm going to check the box for...
It's not locked.
No, it's not locked. So, okay, so the grid is not locked, so the X's may be a little off, but the one that you will have uploaded, you will be able to X the box. So now we're going to go to number 2, and we're going to do additional slides. And no, I'm not adding. I'm adding a partner.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's
so
add a partner.
We're adding a partner. And then the date of the application is August 15th, 2012.
Okay, so the purpose of the application was to really get an easier feel of what you're asking us for, which really didn't come across with the old application. Simply because when we began the process, we just kind of recycled what we had before, and what we did, we just added to it. This time around, because we have the RFP, we're kind of taking a new look at slot reallocation, because it's going to be a key process that we do, and it's not just here in-house anymore, like Vanessa was saying. It's not a CSD process. It's more of a citywide process now. So we decided to take a look at it and see how we can streamline it, make it easier, and make it faster and more clear, so we can actually have a better understanding of what it is you're asking for. Because sometimes we get around maybe 25 applications per slot reallocation, and about a couple of them we can tell right off the bat, okay, this is what they want to do. And the rest of them, we have some lingering questions. So Arlene here, let's go back to the application. Arlene has 456 total slots that she has right now, and she wants to add 20. So that's the requested number of Head Start slots, 20. So the total number of requests is 456 plus 20, which would be 476. Now when we look at the application, we have a clear understanding that you want to add 20 slots and you want to go up to 476 in Head Start. So for childcare, let's say you want to go up in childcare too. Good luck. Under 10, 10. Are you gonna? How many?
Oh, sorry about that. What
So
I
she's
said
gonna
was
add.
requested
She wants to add 10,
10.
and then she wants to have 120, and then for early. Okay, so this agency has the a trifecta here. So 39. Okay, so it's pretty simple. What's your current number? What's the number you want? And what's that total number that you're looking for? Do all the children appear on the COPA waiting list?
Yes.
Yes. Now, we'll get to that later. If there's a no, please complete Schedule B. We'll get to that part later. And then add or remove a site from the allocation sheet. Are these any new sites that you want to add? If they are, yes. Are you replacing? That's one of the things that we run into a lot when folks are replacing. They give us that site that they're adding, but they fail most of the time to mention the site that they're dropping.
Or you list all of your sites that you do not intend to do anything with. So this is only if you want to add a site or if you want to remove a site.
Yeah, and I think what we did is just clarify what we want. Are you adding or removing from the allocation sheet? So not just adding, but removing as well. So let's add a site, Erling. So let's add, so we're adding, check. And these are all be fixed with the, so let's, activity number. So do you have an activity number? No.
No, you do not have an activity number. And we add, sometimes the activity numbers that you list don't match up with the activity number that's on your slot reallocation. So we ask you not to add any activity numbers.
And we'll probably look at that again. We'll look at that.
Yeah, well, we'll look at it again.
I think what we want to add is a program type there. This is an old version of this is not the newest version of the application.
Oh,
so over here
site.
would be program type.
Morgan.
So let's go here. Let's go back to where
so
it says
here
activity
would be program
number.
Type.
Yeah, let's get rid of that. Program type. So that's where we're going to add our Head Start slots. So we're just going to say Head Start.
Well, I'll spell it out.
Now these are going to be half day or full day or family child care homes, and we'll fix that part. So the site's going to be.
That's a beautiful night.
Beautiful children. 1419 Morgan. And your effective date. When are they going to start?
Now, let me say something about when you're adding a site. There's things that we have to do in order to process your request. If you are asking for a new site, we have to have a facility assessment first. So it is to your benefit to send us this information on the date that it's due, or on the date that it's due, or you can send it a little before the August 15th, so that if we have to do facility assessments, we can get that done and out the way.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fill out the rest of this first page, and then we're going to get to some questions here that are kind of piling up. Okay, so we've added beautiful children on Morgan, and they're starting September 16th.
Right.
But you know what? We dropped the partner too.
Oh, we dropped the partner too?
Yeah. We dropped little children.
Okay, it's little children.
So
we click remove.
We click remove. Well, yeah, you click it, but you just put X there.
Yeah, right. We click it. And it was a Head Start program too.
Yeah. And it was little children. And it was down the street.
Okay.
And when did they leave? When are you dropping those kids? Okay. So the last piece of this application is something that we've been wanting to add but haven't added for quite a while, which is Board and Policy Council approval. Arlene can probably share a story from the last federal review.
Well, as part of the Head Start Act, the board does have, in the PPC, they do have to approve your movements as it relates to ARCIA. So, in order to make sure that we are, in compliance, we've put this on the slot reallocation form. So now, make sure that you have your board chairperson and your PPC per chairperson to sign off saying that, yes, you all have had this conversation, it's been discussed, and they approve it. And I'm sure that I can speak for Elaine and say we need to see this in the minutes. So, of course, the ED signs off, and again, that's A, and then your board and your PPC chairperson signature once the board and the parent policy committee has reviewed and approved. Okay?
Okay, that's the first page. We're going to move to the second page a little bit, but we want to get to some questions first.
The children who are starting on the 13th, can we drop them?
What's going on?
Can we drop them? The children who are starting on the 13th, can we drop them?
Is that a previous question?
Why would you?
I don't understand the question.
Okay.
Can we?
I
mean, if you already put them in?
Wait a minute. No, that's all of it. Can we drop them?
That's one we're gonna.
That's another question.
Well, it doesn't do
Let's ask her to. Can you clarify your question for us? I think that's Ivana.
Yeah, we need you to clarify your question because we're not sure if you are talking about children that you've enrolled and then you want to drop them. Not sure. This looks great. Kudos to you kudos to you all for making these changes to the slot reallocation.
Well, thank you, Nefertari.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad somebody likes it. Go all the way up. Go all the way up.
Okay. What were the slot reallocation dates are the same. We haven't changed that. It'll be August 15th. It's always August 15th, and see, I can't do this. Yes, I can. and February 15th.
That's when the applications are due. We put them up on the first of the. We'll have the application usually up by the first of that month. So it'll be on August 1st and February 15th. Because this is new, we're going to try and get it up as soon as we can, probably by Monday or the latest Tuesday. It'll be up on the website, and we'll also send it through the
CSD.
Through the CSD updates.
Right. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, here we go.
If we are requesting additional Head Start child care and early Head Start slots, do we need to mark all 3 on question 1?
Yes.
Yes.
And we didn't do that back there, so good catch.
Yes. Yes. So that we know, so that we actually know what it is that you're requesting. If you want Head Start, mark Head Start. If you want early, mark early. And if you want child care, mark child care. And then when you go down to 6, you can complete those questions. If the slots are decreasing, do we still need to have a meeting with the PPC? Yes.
Yes.
They need to approve all increases and decreases.
And reprogramming too.
Okay. If they start public school on the 13th, can we drop them from our program without affecting the PIR?
The PIR is a cumulative document. So it includes all the children who have been enrolled at least one day since last September. So dropping them when they start school, it won't take them off of the PIR or really change anything about what's on the PIR, except for the number of children who left the program during the year. That's the only number that will affect. But they'll still be on the report. So that's for a classroom that's still open. You can drop the kids. Again, for a half-year room that's already closed, I would just leave them alone. But yeah, you should drop the kids. I mean, if they're no longer attending, but your class is still open, and other kids are attending, you should drop them so that they don't show up as absent.
So if they start on the 13th,
right? So then if they start school on the 13th, the 10th is probably going to be their last day of school. So you can drop them. You want to be able to take attendance for that, so you drop them with a date of probably the 13th, yeah.
I'm all the way up. Make sure I'm all the way up, because there's a bunch of them. If we have sites were not approved before in February 12th, and a facility assessment was already done at that time, will you visit them?
Keep going. There's more.
Can you visit them?
No, this one. There's more. Just scroll down.
Okay. Again. Okay. Our general rule is 3 to 6 months. So if we came out, say, in December of last year, and you want to bring that party back in, and now it's August or July, yes, we're going to go back out and look at that site. What was that? 6. months since we last visited. Okay, this one. Yeah. Right. Yeah, the question is if we have not included a site that has been only funded through Action for Children, do we need to fill out additional paperwork to add the site as a Head Start program? So I need clarity. Are you saying that the program was initially just funded by Action for Children, and now you'd like to have Head Start services at that site? If that is the question, then yes, you would have to go through all of the systems for, you know, Head Start. So now you have, it's almost like I have just a child care only program, but now I want child care and Head Start at this site. So you'd have to complete your slot reallocation application, and we would have to do a facility assessment if we had not seen this site.
Yeah, I think maybe the question is if they were a certificate and they want to be funded back through us.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be, if that's the question, if you had a certificate through Action for Children, that's what we call that's the designation that we say for, you know, those type of models, Head Start and Action for Children. We call them certificate slots. And if you want to get them funded through DFSS, then yeah, you have to complete this application and let us know that you want those child care slots through us. Let us know if that answered your question.
So in terms of bringing on, you know, a new program, there are things that we look at, so we need you to make sure you submit. Can I go into that now?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a facility assessment, then and it's a new site, then we need a copy of their license. And their license will, even though it states the capacity, we need to make sure that you're going to be in age class size compliant. So someone from your education staff will go out and check that. We need you to send us your teacher qualifications, and the ed team will be asking for your teacher's credentials. They want transcripts. And then we want to make, there's other things that we look at. We look at to make sure that you're fiscally sound, that you have quality programming. We look at your PIR status. As you know, we've talked about at the PIR, we put agencies in 3 categories: good standing, high risk, and poor performance. So we look and see where you are as it relates to your PIR and any management issues that you may have. We also review those things. So, but in terms of your application, we will need a license if it's a new site. And for all classrooms that you're opening up, we will need those teachers' qualifications, their transcripts, to ensure that they meet the requirements to be either a teacher or a teacher assistant. So I think we can, we have any more questions?
So let's keep going with the application, then we'll come back.
Yeah, we'll go down to page 2.
Let's go to the page 2. This is the aforementioned slot distribution form.
So we're asking for the agency name. What was the agency name?
Yeah, let's go, I don't know.
I don't know. It was
ABC Agency.
Great Agency.
Oh, great agency.
Great Agency.
And they wanted Head Start and
they were Head Start.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
And Head Start. So you just check the, you know, whatever you're asking for, you check those boxes.
Okay. Previously, if you remember this form, it looked a little bit different, but it's the same type of questions that we ask. We asked only for information about what you were going to change. And year and time after time passed, and we hope that eventually everybody would understand that we just wanted, you know, we understand that the allocation sheets sometimes can be lengthy, and you don't want to go in and have to list everything out. What happened is that it didn't work out that way. So, in order to
simplify the process,
and also, you know, we're creating a little bit more work on the front end in order to get things more out quicker on the back end. We need you to list each of your sites here and let us know how many slots you want there. Okay?
So it makes it much simpler, because what happens is we'll send you a slot reallocation, and people say, well, you gave me 14 over here, but actually I have 10 over there. You gave me 23 over here, but actually I have 25 over here. So just list for us exactly where you want those slots to be. It makes it much easier and a lot more accurate.
And the way I look at it is, what do I want my allocation sheet to look like? And that's the opportunity to do it. What do I want the whole thing to look like? And that's what you list here.
But let me say this. While you want 476 slots, at the end of the day, we know that there are changes at these different locations. And so you just want to make sure, even if this changes the day after you submit it, that you maintain your funded number. So where you may say, I have 20 over here at ABC, and a week from later, now I have 18. But if those two show up at another one of your sites, then you still have your funded number of 476.
Right. So I think everybody is familiar with this. It pretty much kept it the same as before. So if you've done slot reallocation one time, you filled this out before, so it's pretty self-explanatory. So we'll move on to the next form, which is called Schedule A. Now, if you remember from the first part of the application, it said if you're adding a partner, Schedule A.
Mm-hmm.
That's Schedule B. So
That's
you have to
Schedule
go
A. Here.
So right here, question 3 says, new partner. Are you requesting a new partner? If yes, please complete Schedule A. Right. So let's go down to, look at that.
Hey.
Erlene is at the controls today, everybody.
Okay. Go back to normal.
So, Erlene's driving the bus. So we're going to come to, now obviously this is not complete, but it'll give you an idea of what we need. So partner information, we want their name, we want the owner, we want the site director, we want their address, and what else do we want? This is Craig's favorite part of the application.
Yeah, partner name, the owner, the site address.
And usually what this does is just really contact information there for entering into COPA.
I prefer to have the phone number and license number too.
Okay,
yeah,
so you will see the phone number.
You can ask for it.
And you will also see, can I hit it here at the bottom?
Submit a copy of the license?
Yeah, and right. So we'll ask for your license number, but we want a hard copy of the license. So make sure that you, send that electronically along with the application. But if you put the license number here, it makes it much easier so that when this information is being input in COPA, all the information is right here.
And Erlene's going to talk a little bit about how it looks like. What do they, safe environments and all that, and then the ad team, what does it look like on that end when we're adding a partner?
Well, for us on the facility side, of course, we're going to go out and we're going to use the same HHS performance standard checklist that we use when we go out to look at your facilities. So we do expect that your facility would meet, Head Start performance standards, as well as making sure that your license are up to date and in order. On the ed side, they're going to be looking at teacher qualifications, and they're going to be looking at your age class size numbers. And so, someone from ed may come out and they may just observe a classroom and just look at how the teachers are interacting and just get a whole feel for the environment. You will have to, again, send in your license along with your teacher's their transcripts, so that the ed team can determine their qualifications.
Yeah, and so one of the reasons I put this on a different page is so I can add, so it'll be more than just the ability to add one partner, then you got to do another form and add another partner. You can do it'll have multiple entries there to add multiple partners if you want to. So yeah, Arlene's making her edits right now.
Right. So
yeah,
you have
something like that.
Yeah. So you have the opportunity to add more if you need
if you remember the old application, it just had everything on one page.
Yeah.
And that wasn't working out for a lot of folks. So then we go down to this one. We renamed it to Schedule B.
And Schedule B in the beginning of the application was, if all the children were on
the waiting list. That's the waiting list question.
So here we go here. This is if yes or no. If no, then we want you to complete Schedule B.
And that's the old, was it child verification, enrollment verification form or something like that?
Right.
And so essentially what it is that if you're adding a partner or you're adding a site, it's not in COPA. So we need to see we need to see the name, and we need to have this information for the child in order for our records, because we weren't able to see them in COPA because the site's not open yet. The site's not approved.
Right, and we do need those because like sometimes people send it blank, and you want 50 children. So the question is, so where are the children? Who are the children?
Right.
So this gives us documentation that says, this is who I have. It's a way for us to verify that you do have those children that you're requesting.
So again, this is not a new sheet or form. Most of the changes were done to the front page, and just requesting that everybody completely fill out their slot distribution form or Schedule A, so that we see where you want or what you want your allocation sheet to look like.
Okay, so now what happens? You know what you have to submit. You know that the form will be on COPA on August the 1st and February the 1st, providing neither one of those are on a Saturday or Sunday. You'll have to give us your teacher's credentials, transcripts, as well as the facility license. So internally now, what we will do is to review your applications. We contact you for any information that we have, any issues that we see. We contact you so that you can make the appropriate changes. After that, we do an internal review, and then we make a recommendation. I think Vanessa had said it earlier, and that we have a different process now, where before a recommendation was made, it was more internal to CSD. Then that recommendation was given to my supervisor, Lakeisha, and then, pretty much we would move forward. Now, once, the citywide process is that once it moves out of our hands, it goes to a greater body. And that body is the one who makes the final decision and determination about your request. We will try to move as quickly as possible to make sure that you know in a reasonable amount of time whether or not your slots have been approved. For this year's slot reallocation, once we receive it, you will receive your official letter.
Yeah, so let's back up a little bit here and give folks a little bit of background of what we've been dealing with for the past, couple of years?
Couple years.
Yeah. So we do slot reallocation in August. Everyone gets their letter with their final slots in September. And then what happens after that, Earlene?
Well, what happens after that is we go through the certification process. And so, you asked us for 456 slots, and we gave you 456 slots. And then we go through the certification process in September, later on, say like 2 to 3 weeks, and then we find out that you were only able to enroll 400 slots. So now someone else or other agencies have made up the difference in those 50 or 56 slots that you didn't get that we approved you for. And so we have to, again, go in and review, because we've told HHS, you know what, they have 400 funded slots, because that's the number you certified at. And so then it becomes October, and we go back and review, and we say, hey, you know that 456 that you requested? Well, at certification, you only enrolled 400. And so you are at 400 because that's what you have enrolled in the program, and that is the number that we certify to HHS with.
Right, and so what that means is that we did slot reallocation essentially for the past few go-arounds twice, one on the front end and one on the back end. That's not something that's really time efficient or anything like that. So what we're doing this time around, what we're going to test, is a different model that will give you your initial approval on or around September 1st. So you submit your application on September 1st. We're going to tell you, yes, go ahead and enroll based on the information that you submitted on your application. At that time, you will not get a definitive number of slots because we don't know what's going to happen come certification. So on September 1st, you'll get an initial approval letter stating, yes, go ahead, go move forward with these plans for slot reallocation. After certification, you will receive your final allocation based on your certification number and the information in COPA.
And in this case, on September 21, that will be your certification. And so wherever you are with your enrollment is what your final final approval letter will reflect.
And I think I got a couple of rudimentary samples here that I put together. Let's go here. Let's try this one. This might be it. Okay, so this is kind of what your letter is going to look now. We just did it really simple. These are number Head Start slots you have.
This was original.
This was your original allocation, and this is your revised.
Because now during certification, you may have said, what's the difference in this? Let me have the additional, what is it, 68, and we said, okay, go forth, enroll your 68.
Maybe they asked for 80, and they only got 68.
Right.
So this will be, you'll get the preliminary letter, and I did one, but I don't think I saved it in here. And then it'll have, your Head Start, your total number of Head Start, and your total number of early Head Start, and your total number of child care. Now that'll all be broken down in COPA.
Right.
And then you'll have the following sites that have been removed in COPA and then on your allocation sheet.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is change the focus really and make you look at slot reallocation and your enrollment and all that at agency-wide level instead of at a site level. More often than not, we're dealing with enrollment at itsy-bitsy that should be at 17, but you want it at 20, and that kind of holds up the whole process, which is really not the way we want you to focus on, because a lot of the times what happens is that we focus on that site, but overall, when we look into it, you're not maximizing your enrollment. So you may be down at a site in your allocation sheet a few slots, but agency-wide, we look at it and you're down totally. And so the question becomes, okay, we'll move you up here, but then we got to have a bigger conversation about why you're not meeting your enrollment number. I think we should probably answer some questions because we've been going pretty fast here. Questions. All right, I know everybody's got a lot of questions, and so
we're going to take these one at a time.
Yeah, we're going to answer as many as we can.
If we are moving our offices for home visiting, early and Head Start to a new facility, will we indicate that change in this application? Well, you know what? If you are closing your site and you're moving to a new site and you're moving those babies with you, then yes, you're closing a site. And if you are, but we need that only if you are increasing, no, if you're moving, we need you to
let us know.
We just need to know that yes, you are moving to a new facility.
So yes, that'll be yes, and that'll be as home based on the application. They're on the distribution. They'll say home based.
Okay.
Because it should come up on your allocation sheet too.
Right. That is true. Okay.
Does this apply for adding partner sites as well? I think we just answered that, so that might be an old question. If we need to add site information to the second page, will we be able to copy and paste that page, or do we need to continue in another? Yeah, you can. You'll be able to copy and paste that.
We're here.
You'll be able. It'll be locked, but just send me. What we'll probably do is just add some extra pages on this on the website, so you won't have to go ahead and do a whole new page. So we'll make that available. I know that's a thing for everybody. Or you can just fill out another sheet and just do that. You just do that page. Additional information. I think we just answered that one.
That was that one. Yeah.
Trash it.
Okay.
Does this replace the separate add a partner form?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Because you know what? If you go here, there is no here you can add or you can remove. So you're going to list that information here, where it says, where you ask about partner information. Number 8. Did I do it? Did I get it? No. And number 8 is where they talk about adding, or removing a partner. Okay, so when you go down, can you move down? You can't move down with this thing. You have to keep going back and forth. Okay, and so here you get to, here we're only asking that you list a new partner. Okay, on the form, on the application itself is where you have the opportunity to remove and add. Not only partners, but site.
Any site that is coming off your allocation.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answered your question, Brian.
Yes, and it says, so we're saying it is the remove site, not this partner.
Okay, when doing the rollover and a child, what's going on with your mouse?
Well, it's I have very small space. You guys are in here messing my stuff. When doing the rollover and a child is moving from EHS to HS, how can the income documentation, for example,
How old can
how old can the income documentation, for example, within 30 days or 90 days? Right, that's a you. How old the income documentation if we're moving from early to Head Start? That's an interesting question, isn't it? Because the child was over for early.
Okay.
Now the child is moved over to Head Start. So now you do a whole new application, right?
Yeah, we got to be clear about something. When you're moving a child from early Head Start to Head Start, it needs to be treated as a new enrollment. This is going to be a child who's newly enrolled in Head Start, so they're going to need all the stuff. Some of which you may already have on hand because you've already been serving the child, but you're going to need all this stuff. So you need a health history. You need to verify income eligibility. They're going to need a developmental screening, everything just like they came in off the street. The fact that you have them already is helpful, but you need to look at it as enrolling in a new program.
Because it is. You're actually moving the child into a new program.
So in terms of how old it can be, it's really not a different question than when you're enrolling someone who comes in off the street. You know, it should be fairly recent, but there's a number of ways you can do eligibility for Head Start. So, you know, Head Start allows you to use last year's tax returns to verify eligibility status and so on. So when you're just looking at the early Head Start portion of eligibility, there's some flexibility. Now, don't let me go off here. So if I start to wander, you know,
okay,
let me know, because I'm not as clear on childcare, but most EHS is collab, and I don't think that moving from early Head Start to Head Start necessarily means that you need to do any new income documentation for the childcare portion if you're still in your eligibility period.
Right. No, I mean, you're going to do your child care eligibility when you get ready to do your redetermination.
So if they've still got 4 months left on the child care eligibility, they don't need income verification to meet the child care guideline. Like, you don't need the 2 most recent check stubs necessarily. You have to demonstrate Head Start eligibility through either some documentation of income that shows they're below the poverty level, or receipt of TANF or SSI, or homeless status, or foster care. But there needs to be a new determination of Head Start eligibility, and that is not necessarily the same thing as their early Head Start redetermination or their child care redetermination. Which, now, if they are at the same time, you're going to want to verify income in a way that counts for both. But if you're not redeeming at the same time, you just need to show why they're eligible for Head Start.
And speaking of redetermination, please, once the child is in Head Start, do not create a new HSEV. Our CS staff has mentioned that to me again this year. So as we go into the new program year, I had been informed that when agencies were creating a redetermination for child care, they were creating new HSEVs. Please stop doing that. Child care, you redetermine when it's time to redetermine. Head Start, you leave the HSEV alone. Please do not create a new one. Okay.
That's all.
Okay. You know what? Can you make the Schedule B chart expandable to include a large number of children? Schedule B.
Yeah, we can add extra pages to that. I can add we'll do extra pages so you can download just those individual pages on the website. Yeah, we know that sometimes that there's not enough spaces here to do what you want to do. So we'll make that happen. That's easy. Please clarify if a child moves from one program type Head Start to Head Start, what action or steps should occur in COPA?
Well, before Craig chimes in, let me just say that you are moving from one program type to another. So if the child is in early Head Start and the child is getting ready to move into Head Start, we need you to terminate that child, not transfer, not move over, not move under. Transfer that child.
Terminate.
Terminate that child. Let me say it. Terminate that child. And then, like Craig was saying, create a new application as if it was a child coming right in off the street. Create a new HSEV for that child. Okay, Craig, take it away.
Yeah, so you need to come. We need to do that because we need an end date for their involvement in the early Head Start program. So they have a enrollment date and a termination date. And then you waitlist them and put the up-to-date correct information in on age, family size, and income, and then accept them off the waiting list. You'll get a new snapshot that will say this is the date they became eligible for Head Start. This is the reason why. This was their income. This was their family status, and so on. So once you have that, and then you can create a new HSEB at that point. You should also update the checklist. So if they were in early Head Start because they were homeless, but they're in Head Start because they're on TANF, then you need a new checklist that indicates the change in eligibility. You have a new snapshot and they have a new status for Head Start. And again, that needs to be signed in the folder, and the date should be the date that they start class as a Head Start child.
Okay, Erlene's typing this question in, so she didn't take typing class, so it's gonna.
No, I didn't. Okay, neither did you.
She's gonna type it in, so make sure that everybody has the answer and written in stone. Can we ask for early Head Start slots for center-based, and how do we ask for early Head Start home visiting model?
Yes, you can ask for early Head Start for center-based. And let me say this, that the ed team will come out to make sure that you have the correct classroom size ratio and teacher qualifications. Again, we'll need the transcripts, but ed will come out to verify, or most of them know what your center-based programs look like, and they will determine if you can increase based on where you currently are with your early Head Start children. Now, for the early Head Start home visiting model, can I ask for that?
You can ask for it.
Yes.
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 I'm not.
And yes.
As with everything, asking for it doesn't guarantee that at the end of the process you'll get everything that you ask for. For one thing, we need to give out a total number of early Head Start slots that equal 923. It can't be more and it can't be less. So not everybody's going to get everything. But if you have a population of early Head Start families that you can serve, again, let us, put you want those slots on there. And if you've got kids, include the information on the kids. We would hope that you had identified home visitors as well to do that. We don't want to be in a position where we give the slots and when people have to be hired and we can't really have uptake for a couple months.
Yeah.
We do need to have 923 early Head Start children enrolled when we certify.
Yeah.
So we don't want to give you slots in this round of reallocation that you think you can fill in October or November. We need the kids.
Right.
And that is sometimes a little harder to do with the early Head Start program. But if you've got the families identified, you can put them there on Schedule B. Go ahead and ask.
I think it's another one for you, Craig. I think it's follow-up for the last one. So if I redetermine the child for child care in January, can that income be used to deem them eligible for Head Start?
Yeah, what? Yeah, because
Check stubs from January?
well, you know what? No, they need current Head Start. Okay, okay.
No.
Redeterm is not the same as deeming eligibility for Head Start. So they need current. They need current.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so no, you will need to use current check. We still have that child in there. Okay, so but the child was just child care. Okay, your question. So if I redetermined the child for child care in January, can that income be used to deem them eligible for Head Start? So my question is, is the child just a child care? Is the child just enrolled in child care and now you're getting ready to enroll them in Head Start? If so, then yes, you would need to use a current check stub.
Okay, let us know if that answers your question, Ivana. I think I'm getting your name right. It's cutting off. Your name's cutting off here, so if I'm not pronouncing or saying your name right, I apologize. Arlene's typing away, so we'll get the next question hopefully soon.
No, you would need to use a current check stub if the child has only been enrolled in child care. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
That was from, I think, Dorothy. I forgot what your question was. We have 800 babies in our family management program, so I cannot ask for all 800. What number should I ask for? Why can't you ask for all 800?
We're not going to give them 800 slots.
Yeah, we're not going to give you 800 slots, but you should probably determine for yourself how many you want to ask for.
Well, I mean,
can't answer that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
How many slots are we leaving, Mama? Right? We have programs that are phasing out. That's for 150.
Well, that's good to know, Kimberly.
Yeah, it'll depend on what our needs are. If we need 800 babies and you have them, hey.
Okay, yes, it does. Okay, thanks, Savannah. So you answered her question.
Okay, great. Okay.
When you answer the question, you gotta hit the garbage thing. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
All right.
Okay, hey, we got all the questions.
We answered all the questions. That's great. That's great.
Okay, so we're just gonna review here the main points for slot reallocation. Okay, first we got a new application. It'll be up at least by Monday. And we'll add all those extra forms for those agencies that are the bigger ones. Okay, so that'll be up before August 1st. The deadline obviously is August 15th. So
of course,
anything after that likely won't be accepted.
Right, and of course you can always send them earlier. Again, the instructions to be on there. There's a cover page. Let me just say this. Now that on this page we are asking for not only the ED signature, now that we're also asking you to give the board chair and the PPC, do what you're supposed to do to make sure that you get these signatures so that your application will be completed, because if not, then, you know, we cannot accept it. So now would be a good time for you to start having those conversations if you haven't done so already. and so that you can get your application in. Again, if you have any facility assessments that you know you're going to need, please try to get your application in sooner so it doesn't hold up the process, and as well as your teacher's transcripts that you're looking at to put in these new classrooms.
Okay, so deadline is the 15th. You will get your initial approval by September 1st. There will not be any slots awarded at that time, but we know what you are planning to do based on your slot distribution form. So we know that you want to add a classroom at Itsy Bitsy for about 20 kids. We don't want to award that at that time because, as you know, certification happens and
Things change.
doing slot reallocation twice like we've been doing it just doesn't work anymore. So we give you the initial approval to go ahead and enroll, and on September 23rd you'll get your final allocation. That's the last thing that I want to bring up is the allocation, the revised allocation sheet and how it's going to look like. So let's open that folder again.
Right.
Again, with our theme of allocation sheet. This one. So we're just going to open it. So your allocation sheet will now look like this. Let's close that and let's make it bigger for folks to see. Part of the reason it's taking us, it's a struggle to do these allocation sheets is because, and we use Whole House here because, well, they're no longer with us. So anyway, this is a fiscal document. This is going to tell you, this is supposed to tell you how much money you have. In the past, what we've confused, we say one thing and we do another, but now we're just going to let you know how many total slots that you have. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Sometimes what we do is get confused with the individual aspect of the allocation sheet. Case in point, sometimes I get into conversations with agencies and they say, well, I have a large contingent of the population that needs Head Start half-day slots, but all I have is collaboration slots. So I had to turn those families away. All the Head Start slots that we have as City of Chicago are half-day slots.
All of our slots are half-day slots.
Collaboration means we add childcare to the back end of it in order to extend it to a full day. So there's no reason that that agency or any of those agencies should be turning those families away. If you have an idea of what your population needs are, you should be doing whatever you should be doing in order to accommodate those needs and essentially meet that enrollment.
Actually, what you're doing is you are following your community-wide needs assessment. And so if you know your population, you know the needs in your community, then you are addressing those as you enroll those children in the various communities that you serve.
Okay, and so that's it. It's just going to tell you how many slots, how many total slots you have. We're not going to worry about where they are because that's in COPA. And it's going to tell you what you're funded for that, and you do your budget revision off of that. So if you got 13 slots at Itsy Bitsy, but you have 15, and all we care about is that funded number, that total funded number. Let's see if we, and this will also keep Funi around for a few more years. All right, let's see if we got some more questions. And we're running out of time, so we only got a few more minutes, so let's see if we can get through as many as we can. Yeah, we do have questions.
Will this webinar questions and answers be posted on the website?
Yeah, we're recording it right now. We have been having a little trouble getting it up on YouTube, so we're going to work on getting a new system to do that. So some of the videos up there aren't very clear. One last question: who would the contact person be to help me with home visiting questions?
Is that right?
Arlene is typing right now.
The question is your Education Support Services Coordinator.
In the past, we were told that if our slots were collaboration, we could not enroll half-day Head Start families, that they needed to qualify for both. Does this continue to be true? I don't know who told you that. If they're for collaboration, they need to qualify for each program. If they're collaboration, they need to qualify for Head Start and Child Care. But if they're just Head Start kids, you only have to qualify for Head Start.
Okay, that's it. All right. Thank you so very much. Remember, Rollover will be the weekend of September 1st. And so when you come back after that holiday on September 3rd, when you come back on September 4th, after the holiday on the 3rd, everything will be completed. Certification for you need to certify to us on September 14th. We will certify to HHS on September 21st. We will begin to call you as a team. I think many of you now are familiar from experiencing the PIR and Roundtable that we have 4 teams. Our agencies are broken up on those 4 teams. So people from certain areas will be calling you as a team and asking you where you are with your numbers, where you are with putting information in for your families, for FCP, where are you with your physicals. And let me say this. You can enroll your child without a physical. However, the child cannot begin the program until the child has a physical. Okay? Right. I'm not going to say anything else. And so that actually concludes our webinar today. If you have any questions, you can contact me, Craig, or Victor. We'll be more than happy to assist you however we can. Thank you very much, everybody.